Hello and happy Friday to all you amazing beings. So, one of the questions I get posed a lot is, Phil, why do you communicate with spirit guides when you can connect to God directly? And that is a very, very valid question, by the way. My answer to that would be that spirit guides are source. They are an aspect of source. In order for God to experience itself, it has to branch off, think of a branch, into physicality. And so if God, for instance, wanted to learn the depths of yoga practice, or if God wanted to learn how to, what it would be like to be a father or have a child, this is just an example. So let's just take the yoga example for a minute. God would have to fractalize into physical matter and then say that it was one being that started studying yoga. Throughout their incarnation, they would only be able to go so deep into it. And then another being would come after that, and then groups of people would come after that to go into the depths of the studies of yoga. So with time, this would form like a collective of specific beings who are now specialized in the yoga practice. The vision I'm getting right now is like if you think of God as God just is, and then you put like a t-shirt right here, okay? To come into physicality, it has to kind of move into matter, so it would come like this. So this would be a collective of guides. I know this is the weirdest analogy, but see, it would form like some sort of a geometric structure. So some guides might be that they've studied wizardry throughout the course of many, many, many incarnations or yoga. And so when you would connect to the ascended masters like Yogi Bhajan or whoever, you would be drawing in information from that particular network of all guides who studied the stretch and what happened in the toe when they stretched. And then another being might have grabbed information from what happens when they stretch their shoulder and they find a cool breath to activate themselves. So I'm just giving you guys like just a linear presentation right now. But the idea is that spirit guides are indeed source, and they're an aspect of source. So when someone says to me, well, I don't need guides, I already have God, I would say that that's wonderful, and that is true from one viewpoint. Okay, that's just one frame of reference. But from a different viewpoint, that is not true because you still call your mom, or you still call your brother or your sister or good friends for advice. And so in that regard, it is very, appropriate to say that these people in your life are no different than spirit guides. You're consulting them to gain new insights, to gain perspectives that you may not have access to, because every single person in your life has a different flavor about them. Every person in your life, whether it be your mom or a trusted confidant of yours or a really, really, really good friend, they've all had different experiences within physicality, which is why you would call different people for different pieces of advice, or you might call all of them to gain different insights. Spirit guides are like friends, except that they're higher dimensional beings. They're higher dimensional friends. They're higher dimensional galactic family. So when someone says, well, I don't need spirit guides, if you really only communicate with God, then that would mean that you would have to rule out having friends as well. Because now you're thinking in a straight line. It's a vertical axis that connects you to God only. And so why would you need to go to the right or to the left sometimes, or spiral all around to get pieces of advice from different people? So my point is that spirit guides are your higher dimensional friends. And even though they're not visible to the naked eye, they're very much all around us. Some of you may resonate with the higher self. Some of you might resonate with the celestial realm, the angelic beings. Some of you may resonate with the ascended masters, and some of you may resonate with just God or source. What I want to convey in this video is do what resonates with your soul. do what resounds as truth for you, because your genetic makeup is going to be different than my genetic makeup, and my genetic makeup is going to be different than someone else's genetic makeup. I will bring in the higher self sometimes. I'll talk about the higher self, but in my daily life, I don't resonate with that presentation as much. But I resonate with my spirit guides. So that's why you guys will hear me talk about my guides a lot. And then other times I'll talk about God or source. So I generally typically resonate with God, source, or my guides. And then on occasion, I will have, Jesus come through, or I will have the angelic realms come through. There is no right and no wrong here. And that's the point of this video. We don't have to be a straight line, because we are exploring different frequency bandwidths. We are exploring different dimensional realities. We are exploring different radio stations of truth. And all of them are an aspect of God. Everything, God is in everything and everyone. God is in the trees. God is in the wind. God is in the fire. God is in your food. God is everywhere. So let's not limit ourselves. That's my belief. I don't want to limit myself. I don't believe in being a straight line and not being fluid or liquid. I believe in being like a zigzag. And I get to zigzag in and out of the cosmos like a serpent that's slithering. I can move in and out of the cosmos and explore those different fields, those different grid fields of consciousness. This is why we're here. And sometimes we get really too hung up on one way of being, which is completely fine. By the way, if your only guide happens to be Buddha or Jesus, and that's what you feel comfortable with, then that's exactly what is resonating with your soul. And so I would encourage that, because then you're operating authentically. But we're all really connecting to the same thing. We're connecting to different ingredients within the same vibrational soup of God. That's what we're doing here. And I know that my example here was weird, but it's what came to me because it makes sense to me. In order to come into physical matter, then we have to fractalize. Think of the tree of life. Think of a tree with different branches. And you might study yoga, or you might branch off and study mastery of swimming. But as you're studying all of this, you're drawing in informational energy or cosmic information from source, is essentially what it is. But it might be easier for me to connect with my guide Merlin, because it's what I'm used to. It's what really resonates. It's what flickers my light, It ignites my spark. So I would say to you, whatever you feel comfortable with, the most important piece here is let's not limit ourselves and say that you might be more advanced because you only connect with God, or someone else might be less advanced, because there is no more advanced or less advanced. It's all just, we all have a different genetic wiring or a different DNA structure, and different guides or beings will resonate with different people. I happen to resonate with ETs a lot, and then Merlin and different guides, and that doesn't make me less advanced. It just means that I'm connecting with that geometrical structure that they form. I hope this video helps you guys. As a final word, I will say, keep connecting with what resonates for you. If when you hear the word angels, you light up, then that's a sign. That's a sign that maybe you're supposed to connect with angels. If you light up when you hear Jesus, then that's a sign as well. And it may not be limited to one or two. It may be that you branch off and explore different sections or different factions of consciousness, and all of that is completely okay. But our guides are like our friends. They're no different than you calling your mom or your sister to gain advice, to gain perspective. Everyone is experiencing something different, and we all have something to offer. But remember something, God or source lies in everything that you see, touch, hear, taste, feel. God is everywhere. All right? Much love, you guys, and I hope that this helps you.